Hey Latchkey kids and drive-in mutants, I'm Lady Shasha, Mistress of the Snark. And today's requested suggested review comes courtesy of Well Money via Twitter at The Money Shot. He says, just conversing about the movie over coffee this beautiful Arizona morning. I'm arguing that 8mm is better than 7. What do you think about that? I was inspired by Will's tweet to revisit 7 and to watch 8mm for the first time. 7 is a movie that was brought to us by New Line Cinema. Remember when you got excited when you saw that logo? Good times. 7 is a 1995 mystery thriller horror movie directed by David Fincher with music by Trent Reznor. The movie just starts and the credits actually don't come in until after the first scene. The credits feel like a TV police procedural drama. This stars Morgan Freeman as William Somerset and Brad Pitt as David Mills. Arlie Ermey plays their boss and Gwyneth Paltrow plays David's wife. They play detectives trying to track down a serial killer who also is a religious zealot of some type, as he always leaves an inscription of each of the 7 deadly sins. William is an older, seasoned detective 1 week from retirement, and David is a younger detective who becomes frustrated quickly and can be a hothead. I like how small details show the differences in their personalities, like William visiting the library to read books, whereas David just orders the Cliff Notes. This movie can be unsettling at times because it feels so real. Ways that they make it feel real are things like when they're driving in a car and they actually take the time to have these 2 actors ride in a car, whether the car is just being towed by another vehicle or whether they're actually driving. It looks so much more realistic than when they do the whole green screen thing and have the person just go like this, which doesn't look real because people don't drive like this. In the coroner scenes, the doctor uses actual correct medical terminology. They took the time with this. Also, it seemed like a lot of the filming style was very documentary-like. This does have a very muted color palette, but surprisingly, it didn't bother me as much as it usually does. Rob Bottin did the effects for this. He is well known for doing the effects in John Carpenter's The Thing. The effects in this movie still hold up brilliantly. Remember, this movie is over 25 years old, and not a single practical effect looks dated or past its prime. It's just amazing. In addition to the achievements in special effects, the plot is engaging, as are the characters. I felt like I cared about the detectives and I wanted them to be successful with their investigation. This speaks to how good the writing, the acting, and the directing is. Another element that works so well in this movie is its score. Music has the ability to elicit an emotional response. The way music is used to build tension or amplify a chase sequence, or even knowing when to use the lack of music in some scenes to allow the audience to focus on the dialogue. It's masterfully done. I think I appreciate this movie so much more now than when it first came out. This movie is 2 hours and 5 minutes long, but it never feels long. The reveal at the climax of this movie feels earned. There was a slow and steady build up to it that made it work. Even upon rewatching this and knowing what the reveal is, it's still pretty effective. You know, it's funny, when 7 first came out, I was a little ho-hum about it. I just thought, oh, that's an alright movie. But now rewatching it, I can really look at all that it was able to achieve. With that, I'll be back in a moment to talk to you about 8mm. Welcome back, let's get into 8mm. This movie was produced by Columbia Pictures, which is now owned by Sony Entertainment. It stars Nicolas Cage, Joaquin Phoenix, and James Gandolfini. Going into this, I noticed that it has the same screenwriter as 7, Andrew Kevin Walker. This also has a muted color palette, but only just slightly. Not enough to annoy me. You guys know how I am about color grading. I got a nerve, don't I? I only remember to white balance my camera 50% of the time. As I said earlier, this is the first time watch for me. I didn't see 8mm when it first came out. In this, Nicolas Cage plays a private investigator named Tom Wells, who is called to the home of a very wealthy elderly woman whose husband has just passed away. The woman has found an 8mm apparent snuff film in her husband's safe and hires Wells to find out if it's real. This movie follows his character as he tries to solve the mystery of whether what's on the 8mm is real. We see a bit of the footage, but mostly we see Wells reacting to what's on the film. What we do see doesn't look nearly as disturbing as, like, the ending of Megan is Missing or any of the torture scenes from Martyrs. Nicolas Cage has to deliver long blocks of dialogue, but he doesn't have the same gravitas that Morgan Freeman had in 7, so it doesn't quite work. Joaquin Phoenix plays a character that shows up as a clerk at an adult video and toy shop named Max California. He serves as a guide into the seedy underbelly of underground extreme films. Wells pretty much hires him to assist in his investigation. I think Joaquin does a lot better with his dialogue than Nicolas Cage does. The story is a little bit meandering, and I paused it a few times to see how much more was left of the movie. Especially when I thought the story was over, but the movie kept going. There was sort of a climactic reveal in this warehouse scene, and I thought, surely that's the end of the movie. But to my surprise, there was 30 more minutes left, so I said, let's see where this is going. There is a great sequence at the end of this movie when Wells confronts Machine, the man behind the mask. The whole thing with him walking through the house and the record playing loudly, then silent, then loud again, that did have me on the edge of my seat. If you've seen this, you know what scene I'm talking about. That was pretty intense, and it included the one and only jump scare in the entire movie. But that jump scare was effective. I also like that who Machine was revealed to be completely subverted expectations, especially when throughout the movie it shows people who are involved in the fetish community as standing out physically, with colored hair, piercings, and latex bondage clothing. I like how those were the people that were actually the least harmful, and the people who were the most psycho were the buttoned up polo shirt wearing preppy variety. Just like in real life. So how does this compare to 7? To me, the mystery wasn't quite as engaging as in 7. The reveals weren't as impactful. The score was a little odd at times, but enjoyable at other times. And action was just alright. As I mentioned earlier, this has the same screenwriter as 7. It turns out that the studio wanted the screenplay watered down, and the director Joel Schumacher agreed. So he did so many rewrites that the actual screenwriter, Andrew Kevin Walker, completely disowned the movie, and even went as far as to say he has yet to watch it. That's why it doesn't have as much bite as 7. Mind you, by no way am I saying that this movie is bad. It's not. It's a perfectly alright movie. It's just not quite as impressive to me as 7. Thank you, Will Money, for suggesting that I pair these movies together. It made an excellent double feature. But, like I always say, don't take my word for it. Watch it for yourself. Have you seen 7 or 8mm? Which do you enjoy more? Let me know in the comments. Until next time. Hey, did you know that I work for tips now? You could hit me up on Venmo or Cash App. While I'm happy to receive the type of coin that jingles, I'd love to receive the type that folds. Somebody show these people where the subscribe button is. They don't know what they're doing.